Hello everyone, this is Professor Robert Solis. Welcome to our next video lesson. In this particular video lesson, I want to talk to you about shift operators in the C++ language. So you'll notice if I scroll down over here a little bit, you'll see this operation and also this operation over here. Now typically you see these when it comes to the cout and the cin instruction. Specifically, if we are pointing in this direction, that means we are going to send something to the output or to the console. Whereas if we see this extraction operator, we are extracting something from the keyboard and we're putting it into a variable. All right, but in this context, it's a little bit different. So first of all, let me go to the top here where I've drawn a comment. And if I were to think in terms of binary numeric positions, you know that this position is the ones position, followed by the 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, so forth and so on. So in other words, we start off with 2 to the 0, followed by 2 to the 1, 2 to the 2, so forth and so on. This is a binary number indicating that this is 16. So 1, 0, 0, 0, 0 in binary is the same thing as 16 in decimal. All right, now watch what would happen if I were to shift everything one bit to the left. So if I'm going in this direction, that means that this would be under the 32, and then I would add a 0 right here. So let me make sure that all these numbers are lined up. So there we go. And so as you can see now, 32 is now the number if I shift everything over to the left. If I shift it to the left again, this one would be now under the 64. So if I go over here like this, so now I have 64. Let me put this over here, and then what I would have to do is to introduce a 0 right here. So shifting to the left, as you can see, is really the same thing as doubling. If I had the 1 underneath the 2's position, double that is 4, double that is 8, double that is 16, so forth and so on. So what this does is it says, well, first of all, how many times are you going to shift this to the left? In essence, that's the same as multiplication. Of course, it's a specific type of multiplication, namely doubling it. All right, what if we were to shift bits to the right? Okay, so if I want to take this and if I want to shift it to the right, that's in essence getting rid of this 0 right here and then moving everything to the right like this. So let me make sure that everything is lined up properly. Here we go. So we had 64. When I shift everything to the right, which is what this operation does right here, well, then you'll notice that we're halving. So we are taking that 64, cutting it in half, and so now it's 32. What if I wanted to shift it again to the right? Well, we're going to move everything over like this. I'm going to get rid of this 0 right here. And let me make sure that everything is aligned properly. Okay, so we had 32, but when we shift to the right, it's like taking the 32, cutting it in half, and so now I have 16. You'll see the zeros are underneath the 1, 2, 4, and 8. So that's what this operation does right here. So when you are dividing or multiplying in terms of shifting, right? I should say when you're shifting to the left or to the right, it's in essence the same thing as either multiplying, specifically doubling, or dividing, specifically halving, right? Cutting it in half. So that's what this program is all about. We're going to ask the user to enter a decimal number. And first of all, we're going to ask them, do you want multiplication or division? Maybe I should really say, how about this? Like doubling or halving. I don't even know if this is a real word, but the idea is cutting it in half. That's what I mean by that. All right, so we're going to ask the user that. We're going to ask for the shift amount, right? So maybe I shouldn't even say doubling because it could be that maybe I'm shifting more. Like if I say shift 2, then it goes from 32 to 64. If we're going to really be, well, I guess it is doubling, but how many times are you doubling is really what I'm saying over here. So that's what this shift amount represents, because every time you shift 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth and so on, you're basically doubling if you're shifting to the left. So I'm going to ask the user what they want to do. Based on what they want to do, we're going to know the shift amount, and then we'll ask if they want to do it again. All right, so let's run the program. Okay, so here we are, and let's say that I want to double a number. So I'm going to type in the letter M, And what is the initial decimal value? Now, the way that I've written my program is you're going to enter a decimal number. So let's say that I enter 16, say for example. Well, you know that 16, if I were to shift it one time to the left, that's going to go to 32. So I press enter. Yep, there it is, 32. Let me do this again. Yes. All right, how about this? Division, halving. So I'll put D over here. And an initial value is 32, but you know from our previous code over here, if there's a 1 over here, and if I shift it to the right one time, which I'm about to do here, shift once to the right, then that 1 is going to be now underneath the 16 numeric position, and so that's why I get 16. Say yes. How about this? Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and multiply or doubling, and our initial value is 1, say for example, and I want to shift 3 times. Well, if there's a 1 here, 1, 2, 3, shifting to the left means it's going to become an 8. Let's see what happens. I press enter. Yep, there it is, 8. Try it again? Sure, one more time. How about halving? So we'll say D, and then enter an initial amount. Well, let's do this. Let's say 64, and then I want to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So if there's a 1 over here, and if I'm moving it 6 times, it should be 1. So 64 becomes a 1 if I shift it. Enter. 6 times. Now let's see what happens. Yep, sure enough, the answer is 1. Try again. No, we're done. Okay. So that is how this operation works. So in other words, what I'm saying is whatever the value of x is, shift it a certain amount and then update this variable. So if this is 1, and if I say shift it 1, then that's going to be 2, because if there's a 1 right here, if I shift it to the left once, there's going to be a 1 right here, and that's in the 2's position. In the similar fashion, if I want to shift to the right, and so that's nice, this thing points to the right, so that means you are taking this value, whatever it happens to be, which in this case, of course, is an integer, and if I take that value and if I shift it a certain amount to the right, in essence, it's taking this binary number and then moving it to the right however many times and then updating that value. Then we just simply output whatever that value is, and we ask the user if they want to try it again. Okay, so this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson was helpful. You guys have a good day. We'll see you next time.